Just got back from a ride and I really should be washing my bike and removing all of the crud that I've accumulated. But instead I'm procrastinating and I'm going to make a video about my favourite piece of cycling clothing, which is the Castelli Perfetto jersey. Give you my thoughts after wearing it for 2.5 years, and I'm going to explain why it's at the top of the list whenever anyone asks me for a recommendation on what piece of cycling clothing to get first. Let's crack on. Welcome to the studio. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to strip off. So, I got my Castelli Perfetto jersey, which I'm wearing here, about 2.5 years ago. I bought it mainly because I'd become somewhat obsessed with it as a piece of clothing, having seen it in so many professional cycling races. Now the Perfetto, or the Gabba as it was called then, really entered my consciousness, as it did I think for the cycling world at large, back in 2013 during the running of the Milan-San Remo race. In that year the weather conditions were absolutely atrocious, in fact so bad that the race had to be stopped. All the riders got onto their team buses and they were shipped over a couple of mountains before being let back out again to start the race. An awful lot of people were wearing these jerseys. Not all of those riders were sponsored by Castelli, in fact very few were. They would have been wearing kit made by other manufacturers, so it would have gone totally against the terms of their contract, but they wore them nonetheless. They avoided showing the Castelli logo, I think, by blacking them out with black marker pen. Castelli then, the following year, released a special edition of the Perfetto, which came in a presentation box with the jersey there and a special black marker pen in case you wanted to black out the logo yourself. So what is it? Well, it's a cycling jersey. I guess there's nothing more to say about it than that, so we're done. It's described by Castelli as a foul weather cycling jersey. In fact, I'm pretty sure, yep, it says it here, which means it's intended for riding in pretty inclement riding conditions. I have just had a quick look at the Castelli website. I can't really remember what temperatures they say it works in. I think they say maybe between 4 and 12 degrees centigrade. Who knows what that is in Fahrenheit. One of the things I like about the Castelli Perfetto is the history. So the Perfetto started life about 10 years ago as originally called the Castelli Gabba, and that was named after pro rider Gabriel Rasch, who at the time was riding for the Cervelo test team, and he worked with Castelli, I think, to come up with a new concept for a wet weather jersey that wasn't like the plasticky, sweaty type rain jackets that people, well, I've still got one now. Now Gabriel Rasch subsequently went on to join Team Sky, and in fact he's still there as a team director. Some point over the last 10 years the Gabba, which was a short sleeve jersey, received longer sleeves, and the longer sleeve version became known as the Perfetto. I think mine is a 3rd generation one. The current model is the Perfetto ROS, which stands for rain or shine, and you can get a long sleeve version, much like this one. Looks pretty similar, except there's more obvious externally taped seams over the shoulders and around the arms. There is a short-sleeved version, I think, called the Perfetto Light ROS, but strangely, the one which is closest to being the short-sleeve version of the Perfetto is in fact still called the Castelli Gabba. The Perfetto Light is rated for better weather conditions than the Gabba. If that makes sense. It absolutely does not make sense. So let's try that again. There are in fact 4 jerseys in the Perfetto Gabba range. You have the long sleeve jersey like this one. You have the Perfetto long sleeve convertible, which is long sleeve, but you can zip off the arms and it becomes a gilet. Gabba, which is close to the Perfetto in terms of the materials used. Wind-stopping material on the front and a slightly more flexy one, I think, on the back, but has the shorter sleeves. And then you have the Perfetto, I think it's called the Perfetto Light, which is the one that you would use in the best weather conditions. So, what is the Perfetto made of? It's made of a stretchy lycra material. You can see the fit here. It's not waterproof. I guess it's water resistant. You tend to, even having washed this a number of times and not applied any sort of water resistance treatment, it still beads up. Once it does get wet, it tends to adopt a sort of wetsuity type quality. Any moisture that's in there stays relatively warm. I think we know that I'm not a material technologist, so I think it's time for me to take it off, isn't it? Now we really see how cold it is. So you can see the material itself, it's actually relatively thin. Unlike other jerseys, certainly the back and the front panels here, it's not the fleecy Roubaix style material that you might expect. So it doesn't actually feel super warm when you put it on and cozy. You don't put it on and you think, oh yeah, that's going to keep me warm. But you have to trust in the Castelli. The only fleecy bit on the inside is this panel, I guess, just underneath the arm that provides a bit of flexibility. So in terms of features, maybe we need the camera a bit closer. So in terms of features, on my one, we've got 3 pockets here. We've got these rather neat decals at the bottom here. These are reflective. I think if we look, I was about to say that they let water out, but I don't think they do. Oh, let's have a look. Do they let the water out? Oh yes. There we go. Maybe you can see there that my fingers can be seen through those holes. There we go. Here we've got the flap that hangs down lower at the back, and we've got our nice reflective Castelli logo. High quality zips on either side here. So these are not 2 pockets, these are to vents that are at the sides, just in case you do get too toasty warm whilst wearing your Perfetto. I've owned this jersey for 2.5 years, and I've only just noticed, if we're looking here at the, this is the collar, there is in fact a shape here at the back of the neck. You can see there's a V, but I guess that is to allow for better shaping as it goes around the back of my neck. Let's have a look. Can we see that? Who knows? Other features, we've got reflection on the front. Rosso Corsa is red. What is it? Red ribbon, I guess? Who knows? It's Castelli's racing line, which is obviously a joke when it's being worn by me. It's a good quality zip. There's a flap that covers the front of the zip here that further prevents ingress of water at the front. And it's just generally a high quality piece of kit, you know. I'll show you actually, let me just check what size it is. So this is the medium, and you can see, you have to sort of pull it on, wrestle yourself into it, but I've never had any issues with seams, you know, tearing or giving any hint that they're going to tear. It strikes me that it's a really well-made piece of kit. I'm a medium, I'm about 5'10" height-wise, relatively slender, and I think I'm obviously holding myself in, and it's pretty tight-fitting, so I would suggest, I think generally for other clothing manufacturers, I tend to go for a small. I could probably get away with wearing this in a large and it would still look absolutely fine. I would suggest at least going 1 size larger than you would otherwise buy with other manufacturers. But that's pretty standard advice for cycling clothing made in Italy anyway. So when do I wear my Perfetto? Well, the short answer is, unless it's the height of summer, then really the Perfetto is always an option for me to wear. In fact, there was one event which took place in the high summer of 2018 where I wasn't wearing my Perfetto, and I really wish I was. That was Ride London. The weather was absolutely abysmal. It tipped it down. Arguably you'd say it wasn't that cold. You know, it was still July. I got very cold indeed, and I really regret not having it, and that informed a lot of my riding last year. Even when the weather looked reasonably okay, I'd still take it along with me if I was away from the house, if I was going to ride in an event. So I'll wear it all through my winter riding. I'll tend to wear sort of a thermal undershirt underneath, wear this, and then my blue gilet on top, and that tends to be sufficient in pretty much all weather conditions. Any colder and we would really be talking about it being icy and therefore not safe. Wear it all through the spring and autumn when I could just wear it with or without a thermal base layer. And because it's pretty tight fitting and the material is not too thick, you can actually wear it under a standard cycling jersey. There have been a few occasions where I've been on a corporate cycling day and I've had to wear the jersey that they've given us, and I've still worn the Perfetto underneath almost as a base layer, and it hasn't meant that the jersey over the top looks stretched or strange. So it's an incredibly flexible and usable in every scenario piece of cycling clothing. So what else do I like about this jersey? We've said it's hard wearing. I think it looks quite good. It's quite flattering. Pulls you in all the right places. It washes really well. I've given this a fair amount of abuse, worn it a lot, and to be honest, it still looks as good as new. No bobbling or anything like that. It's just a really high quality piece of kit. But what are the downsides? Well, there aren't that many really. It's a pretty ubiquitous piece of cycling clothing. You can't go out on many rides these days without seeing a number of people wearing a Castelli Perfetto, whether it's a black one or one of the multitude of other colours. Hey ho, I think we're all in that Castelli club. It's not a cheap piece of clothing. Just had a quick look on the website. A new Perfetto ROS will cost you around about £190 to £200 here in the UK, about $230. One assumes the shorter sleeved ones would cost less. I have not just looked at what the price is, so maybe I will flash them up on the screen now. So that's it really. If I had to choose just one cycling jersey for the rest of my life, I'm afraid it would have to be the Castelli Perfetto long sleeve. I heart Castelli. Seems that I've drunk the Kool-Aid and I'm absolutely a Castelli one. On that bombshell, it's time for me to wash this bike. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did and you'd like to see more videos, please do hit subscribe and also hit the bell icon to be notified when I release my next video. You might have noticed that I am in my workshop, which I have somewhat finished tidying / setting up. At some point in the next few weeks I will do my first workshop tour, so look out for that one. Until next time, safe cycling.